Well, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or evening, depending where you are joining us from. Welcome back here to the Launchpad. To our many new subscribers and followers of the Launchpad, welcome. My name's Zach. I am the host here at the Launchpad, and you are joining us for our live launch coverage of Roscosmos and Arianespace's launch today of a Soyuz 2.1B rocket for the mission OneWeb12. And we're going to go into all the mission details here over the next few minutes. Currently, we're sitting at T minus 1 hour, 37 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. And we do have a live view of the pad here for you of that Soyuz sitting out on the pad, counting down towards today's liftoff. Today's launch is launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan and has 36 OneWeb satellites on board. This is a very exciting mission for OneWeb, as with this launch, should it be successful and deployment go well, they will have now passed over 60% of their constellation being launched, and this has all happened within just 2020 and 2021. So we're excited to bring you this live launch coverage. As always, and I see some of our regulars already doing it in the chat, let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to welcome you here this morning. As we know, it is a bright and early one for us here in North America, but maybe it's afternoon or evening where you are, and we'd love to welcome you here. If it's your first time here, welcome here at the Launchpad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, and we believe space is better together, so we invite you to be active in the chat by sending in questions. If you send in a question, just make sure to tag us at the Launchpad, and we'll be trying to answer those over the next hour and a half as we count down to liftoff this morning. And a big thing about today's launch, from what we know, this is the last launch of 2021. There's an orbital flight. There is a test flight for an Angara scheduled later today, but Roscosmos has not made any signs that they're going to be live streaming it. So this may be our last live launch coverage of 2021. And I just want to take a quick second and say thank you so much for your guys' support all of this year. We started the Launchpad on January 1st, and we are absolutely blown away by your guys' support, and we have some huge stuff planned for 2022 that we can't wait to share with you. So if you're new, hit subscribe, and if you're not, thank you for being here, and we're so honored and privileged to have you guys along with this journey. We've got MBB coming in from Germany. We got Joe in the chat. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. We've got Ad from Iran. We got Santi from a small country of Andorra. We've got Arnar from Iceland. Virginia, good to see you in the chat as well. Thank you so much for being here. Zach, you've been spelling Webb too much. Hey, we had, James Webb, and now we got OneWeb, and then we had Spider-Man with Webb. No spoilers, but, it's just that season of Webb related events and activities. But we are currently counting down T minus 1 hour, 34 minutes, 45 seconds and counting for the launch today of OneWeb12. We're going to run through all the details and then get right into answering your guys' questions. So again, today's mission name, OneWeb12. Launch provider is Roscosmos with the Russian Federal Space Agency and Arianespace. The customer is the OneWeb agency, who are kind of a competitor to Starlink. They are providing internet communications through a mass constellation. Today's rocket is the Soyuz 2.1B, which you can see on your screen, launching from Site 31-6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Today's payload, 5,310 kilograms or 11,700 pounds, and it's going to be launching into a polar low Earth orbit with an initial orbit of 450 kilometers circular at an 87.4 degree inclination. But once deployed, those satellites will make their final way to a final orbit of over 1,200 kilometers, which is about 2.5 times the altitude that we see the Starlink constellation. This is why OneWeb needs much fewer satellites. Obviously, Soyuz not a recoverable rocket, so that's not to worry. This is the 140th orbital launch of 2021, the 11th operational launch of OneWeb, and the 71st launch of a Soyuz 2.1B. So we're excited to be counting down here for these 36 satellites to go. These 36 will boost the total number of satellites launched to 394, which is just over 60% of the entire constellation of 600 that they will be needing. They are going to launch 648 into the constellation, providing them with 600 satellites for actually global coverage and 48 on air or on orbit spares in case they have a satellite failure. They'll be able to maneuver one of those satellites into position. So that is what they are working on here. We'll be patching in live coverage from both OneWeb and Roscosmos as they start those. Roscosmos will be going live in about 20 minutes. OneWeb goes live a bit closer, similar to SpaceX. Once they do, we'll listen in for updates on the rocket. Each satellite weighs close to what a normal fridge does, 147 kilograms for it, and they are equipped with Q-band antennas, and they operate between 12 and 18 gigahertz. So these are small satellites, but they are working together. Now, today's deployment will be broken up into, I believe it's 9 chunks. So it will take over 3.5 hours for deployment. We're not going to be live for all of deployment, but we hope that you guys will stick with us here for the launch here this morning and take a moment and share out the broadcast. We know it's been a little bit since the launch, and we're glad to have all of you here with us this morning. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the Launchpad. You're tuning into our live launch coverage for OneWeb12. Now's the time. Send in your guys' live comments and questions related to today's launch or other, and we'll be answering those as we count down towards the launch here. Currently scheduled for 13:10 UTC or 8:10 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:10 a.m. Pacific. There we go. There's the translations for those time changes there. So we do have about an hour and a half from now. We'll start to see the activity around the site pick up and then start to clear out. Keep in mind, this is Russia and Soyuz launch, so we do normally see people out at the pad until that about T-minus 25 or 30 minute mark. That is normal, but one of the big moments we'll be expecting to see in the not too distant future is actually those claws separate. Those towers normally separate around an hour from now at that T-minus about 30 minute mark. And that's going to be when things really start to pick up for the rocket, and we'll have those live mission control comms as they get ready. Hey, Real YouTube, good to see you. Good morning from Ventura. Good morning, Scott. Thanks for being here. Jose, good to see you as well. Hey, Nightcat, how's it going? Good evening. A rocket launch to start your week. There we go. That's a good way to start the week. Good morning from Ventura. Great to have you here. Joe, what is a giant hairy... Huh? I believe that's an insect, isn't it? Not sure about that one. But if you're just joining us, welcome here. You guys can send in your questions. Tag us just like Joe did there with the @ sign and then the launch pad. And we will be answering those live as we count down towards liftoff 1 hour and 30 minutes from now. Hey, Cosmo Prime, how's it going? For those of you also tuning in to our live tracker of the James Webb Telescope, great to have you all here as well. You guys can tune into that. The link is in the description. We did want to give a shout out. Our limited edition launch day commemorative shirts, mugs, and bottles are still available over on our Etsy shop. Links in the description there. And it is a great time to pick one up because it's launch day, which means if you use promo code launch day, all caps in one word, you get 10% off your order. So a great way to pick something up and help support us. We have made sure that everything has been pushed through over the last 36 hours. So if you ordered anytime in the last 2 days, your order is already being processed and will be shipping in the very near future. We appreciate your guys' support for that. Hey Fizz, how's it going? Virginia got about 4 inches of snow. Oh my, that's a lot of snow. Seeing another live view there, you can see the activity around the Soyuz. Yes, lots of venting around the rocket that we normally do see with the Soyuz as we count down to launch, but lots of activity as well. Soyuz having over 2,000 successful flights, very safe rocket that we see people around. Hash is asking what altitude will they reach. So today they're going to deploy at an altitude of 450 kilometers, so just above the International Space Station. But the satellites themselves will maneuver up to an altitude of 1,200 kilometers. And that'll take a little bit of time for them to do that. Similar to what we see with Starlink, they deploy at the 260, 280 range, maneuver all the way up to 500. Very similar to that, just at a much higher altitude. What we can do is we can bring up a live look at the ones that are already up in orbit. So let me pull that up here for you guys, as this is the 11th operational flight, and that is what we are seeing here. There. So OneWeb here. I transition over. This is a live view from the website stuffin.space. And this is a great website where you can look up every satellite or tracked thing that is in orbit around our beautiful planet. You can see there's a lot of stuff. But if we come in there, you can see those blue lines are the orbital planes that the OneWeb satellites are launched into. And if you wanted to track a specific one, you could. Those red dots are the actual satellites that are currently in orbit. As you can see, this is a polar system, so everything is launched in a polar inclination, which is why they actually were able to start offering service in the north and the south more earlier than they have been able to in the middle, because they haven't had as many satellites. They hope to be launching their service in the United States soon. I have actually had advertising to get OneWeb as of this summer. We started seeing ads for getting their service. So this is what is currently on orbit. Of course, there are quite a few, over 300 or so already in orbit. But if you ever want to know where one of those is, you can take a look. Just to give you a comparison to them, this is the constellation. If we pull out, this is all SpaceX. We don't want that. We want Starlink. There is the Starlink constellation and what is currently up and on orbit for those station keeping. You can see the difference in their orbital planes. You can see where there's some of those orbital launches and some of the other, and we're going to see this really start to fill in as they start to do their different planes and their different shells, filling in a lot of these gaps to make sure they have a consistent coverage. Well, that is the OneWeb Constellation currently up there. We'll pull up the live view, though, of the pad, because that's what we all want to see. Counting down T-minus 1 hour, 25 minutes, and counting. So, yes, so they're going to be launching 36 satellites here today on board the Soyuz. If you guys are just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of OneWeb12. We're here to answer your guys' live comments and questions as we count down to launch. So you can send those in the chat and just tag us at the launch pad, and we'll work to answer those. We're going to take a very quick commentary break, and then I will be back at probably, let's double check when we're seeing them go live. We are expecting Roscosmos to begin their live coverage here in about 15 minutes. And we got a question here from Calipazan. Calipazan? I'm sorry if I said that wrong. What do you think about Webb? It makes sense. It looks like a good system. Personally, I live in a major city, so we have fiber optic internet. So right now, there's no competition between the internet I can get and the satellite internet. But I do know some people that have looked at it and compared to Starlink and have considered it. I don't know anyone that's personally gone on it yet. as I know it is still quite early for them. But it is something that I know a few people have mentioned, and a few people have mentioned seeing ads and have messaged me like, "What's this thing?" So they are definitely starting to expand and kind of come further south and further north of where they're offering their service. So we wish them well. Competition is important for them to be able to help keep prices down to maintain competitive service. But I think Starlink in the end will really have an impact on them just for its mass availability and some of the things they want to do within the future with phones, cruise ships, planes. I think Starlink will change how we think of connection, where OneWeb, I think, is just providing internet connection in a kind of standard way that we think of it now. But maybe they're working on other stuff that we don't know of, and that's definitely a possibility. I know for people outside major cities, even in my province of Alberta, people need internet connection. They do not have high speed internet. So having these satellite options coming online is huge because they're seeing a 10 or 100 times jump of the service that they are being able to receive, which in this day and age seems to be kind of just not surprising. And if you're talking about the launch of James Webb, I think it was great. I think it was a really clean launch, really smooth, which was great to see. I think the fact that we saw that solar array deployment, we were all really worried about at the beginning of, wait, why is the solar array deploying 30 minutes early? But we had confirmation that the crew did order that deployment and that the James Webb was exactly where they wanted it, and they were ready for deployment. Excuse me. 343 deployments still to go, and then they had their antenna. We're waiting for more updates. But if you guys want to see where James Webb is, you can click the link in the description, or I'll drop it in the chat for you guys as well. And you can check out our live tracker. We're going to be live for the next 27 and a half days, bringing you uninterrupted live tracker coverage of the James Webb Space Telescope and its current location, trajectory, speed, as it approaches the moon over the next 24 hours, passing the lunar orbit and beginning its well into its journey to the L2 Lagrange point. Excuse me. So far, James Webb has completed over 25% or so of its journey to its destination of L2. So on the tracker on the bottom is for 29 days, not for distance. So it'll get to L2, and then a lot of stuff will happen to maintain it in the L2 position. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, he does real YouTube. Absolutely, he does. I know he's mentioned that before. It's awesome. Joe 36 fridge weighted satellites. Not size, but weighted. But yeah, if you guys are just joining us, welcome here to the Launchpad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of OneWeb12, launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. We're going to take a very quick commentary break. Keep sending in your guys' live comments and questions, and we'll continue to answer those as we count down to launch 1 hour and 20 minutes from now. Stay with us right here on the Launchpad. Well, and again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of OneWeb12. We are at T minus 50 minutes and counting, and we are super excited to have you all here for what will most likely be the last launch of 2021. We're glad to have you all here. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the launch pad, and we are counting down towards liftoff of 36 more OneWeb satellites on today's Soyuz 2.1B rocket. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat. Just make sure to tag us at the launch pad, and we'll be able to answer those live for you as we count down. OneWeb will be getting their live commentary here in a few minutes, and we will patch that in to have an update on the satellite and the rocket as they count down for liftoff here today. These 36 satellites will take them over 60% of their constellation already being into orbit, so very quickly in just a year, 2 years, approaching that 60% mark. Far fewer satellites needed than compared to Starlink. They only need 600 satellites in orbit, but they're actually going to deploy over that to have a few dozen on-orbit backups should they ever need to replace. Today's launch is from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. That's the live views you are seeing on your screen right now. They're launching into a polar orbit at an 87.4 degree inclination, and the initial orbit they'll release at is 450 kilometers, but they will slowly navigate their way up to a 1,200 kilometer orbit. Of course, the Soyuz is not reusable, so it will crash into the steppes of Kazakhstan. But great to see you all here this morning. If you are also watching our live tracker of James Webb over the next 27.5 days, you can keep track of exactly what's going on with James Webb with our James Webb live tracker. That link is in the description. As well as take a moment, check out our Etsy shop. We've got our launch day commemorative James Webb gear, limited edition, available for a short time only, and you can pick that up on the store. And it's a great time to do so because if you use promo code LAUNCHDAY, you get 10% off your order because today is a launch day. So definitely a great time to pick that up. As we always say, let's find out where you guys are watching from. Let us know in the chat. I see Kier's tuning in from Gold Coast, Australia. Great to have you here. Virginia's back with first cup of coffee. Metal Guy's got his first cup of coffee too. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm staying off the coffee because I am hoping to go to bed after this, at least for a few hours. But we're glad to have you here for today's launch. This is the 140th orbital launch attempt of 2021. So one of the busiest years we have seen since really the 60s. If you only look at actual launches that have occurred, this was the busiest year. If you look at launches that were planned and occurred, there was still 1 year in the 60s that was busier. But we are definitely seeing this very quickly pick up for that. One thing we wanted to mention, as some people have brought it up, is kind of like what's going on with OneWeb. In March 2020, OneWeb actually filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and laid off most of their employees. However, they were able to maintain the 74 satellites they had on orbit. In November of 2020, the UK government and the Bharati enterprise invested $1 billion into OneWeb with the goal of finishing the constellation, and that is why we are seeing this constellation continue. Is that mass investment of not wanting to put it to waste. Now, today's deployment will take over 3.5 hours, so we won't be live for that full deployment time, but we will be through that first launch until we confirm a good orbit. And then we may leave the stream up where you guys can live track the telemetry, but we'll take a break from our commentary. Virginia's asking, have you heard any more about Starship 20's test flight? Nothing yet. New Year's Eve is when we're hoping to hear something from the FAA, so we're all waiting on that. Aloha Salty Sea Dog, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Real YouTube is eating breakfast, no coffee. It is a bright and early one for us on the North American side. So great to have you all here. Here in North America, some of us are having a cold snap, so let us know where you're tuning in from. Know people are tuning in all over the world, and we're glad to have you here for what is going to most likely be the last orbital launch of 2021. This is the second last thing on the schedule. The only other one, not including China, excuse me. There are a couple of China launches that still occur, but we never get live feeds of those. Ones that we can actually see. But there is an Angara launch scheduled for about 6.5 hours from now, but Roscosmos has not made it clear if they're actually going to show it. It is a test flight, so we may find something out after, but we probably won't be able to actually watch that one live, unfortunately. But we're keeping an eye on that. If we do hear about a live video feed being available, we will bring that to you. Joe, good evening from Hong Kong. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. If you guys are just joining us, welcome. We're joining us for our live launch coverage of OneWeb12 as we count down 44 minutes and counting. You can see the pad starting to slowly clear, but in about 15 to 20 minutes, we will see those two large towers start to separate from the sides of the Soyuz. They will open like a clamshell around the Soyuz, and then we will see the pad really start to clear around that T-minus 20, 25 minute mark. I'm so sorry. I'm going to just say A because I know I'm going to butcher it. I'm sorry. A is asking, will SpaceX launch any Falcon Heavy? Yes, we have 3 to 4 Falcon Heavies scheduled for 2022. And actually, ahead of schedule, they are retracting that tower. T-minus 43 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. And you can see that tower starting to be retracted from the side of today's Soyuz. We normally see that a little bit later on, but things progressing, I guess, well and possibly slightly ahead of schedule. Like I just had some Chinese leftovers, dessert. Hey, there we go. It's a great way of doing it. If you guys have questions, you can send those into the chat. Just tag us the @ the Launchpad. That'll make sure I see those as we count down to liftoff here. As we see that those two major towers start to retract from the side of the ferry. You can see there OneWeb with the flags of the supporting nations that they'll be using these satellites for. And of course the big Russian flag as they are launching with Roscosmos. But this is a partnership launch, so it is a launch of Arianespace and Roscosmos partnering together for today's mission. Double checking one thing here, seeing if we can get any updates on the state of the rocket. We know they had progressed with fueling and everything. That's why we were seeing that venting. You can see there that pad really starting to clear out as they get ready for liftoff here today. Morning from Chicago. Great to see you here. I don't know, this kind of mission. What's it for? Satellite or ISS from Russia. So this is a Russian launch in partnership with European launch Arianespace, launching 36 satellites. So if you know about Starlink, this is similar. This is a competitor to Starlink called OneWeb. They are launching a constellation of over 600 satellites. They need 600 satellites in operational orbit for their global constellation to provide internet connectivity. So similar to Starlink that is here. So glad we're able to bring this to you. That is our mission here at the Launchpad, is to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. There's so much stuff happening in space, and not a lot of it gets attention. So we try to bring you every launch that happens, whether it's a test flight, a static fire test of a Starship, a OneWeb launch, Rocket Lab, Firefly, all of those in between. Now, something that's different from a lot of the launch sites we see around the world is the Baikonur Cosmodrome is actually just a pit that has been dug out. It's a big concrete pit, that is where they're launching. But you can see there's still a lot of people at that launch site as we come down to T-minus 40 minutes and counting. Morning, DJ. Great to have you here. If you guys are just joining us, take a moment, share out the broadcast. It really does help us out as we count down these last 40 minutes until liftoff. Today's rocket that you can now see fully on screen there is the Soyuz 2.1B, and you're looking at the Site 31-6 of the Baikonur Cosmodrome. On board 36 OneWeb satellites weighing in at 5,310 kilograms or 11,700 pounds. Each of these satellites weighs about the same as a residential fridge. At least a North American residential fridge. And that's not a very good... That was from OneWeb. That's how they said to, refer to it. A residential fridge. I feel like there's very different residential fridges when you go around the world. But I digress. Today's launch will boost the total number of satellites in orbit to 394, which is over 60% of the constellation, as they only need 600 to actually be fully operational. We are waiting for OneWeb to begin their live coverage here, and then we will patch them in for an update on the state of the rocket to hear how things are going and the state of the 36 satellites on board. Good morning, Riona from Chicago. Mike near Erie, Pennsylvania. Great to have you here. Zhang, greetings from Poland. It's awesome to see you. Team Zalwit. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. But thanks for tuning in. Great to have you here. So a little bit more about what OneWeb it is. Hey Zach, mind posting that site you used to check out the OneWeb satellites here in the... Absolutely, I can drop that in there. It's called Stuff in .space. I can drop that in here. That is the site there, and then you're just going to want to type in the search bar OneWeb, and you'll be able to see the live update information there of any of the satellites that you're looking at. A little bit different from what you see with things like ISS trackers or things like that, but it does work pretty well. We're always been pretty happy with the coverage that we've gotten from it. And we are coming down to the last 37.5 minutes here. We do have OneWeb getting spooled up, ready for their live broadcast. So once they are ready, we will patch them in for an update. You guys can continue sending in your questions, even if we're listening in. We'll be answering those in the chat as we count down to liftoff. Again, if it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button as well. Really does help us out. We are on the road to 25K, which is not a sentence I thought we would say. Maybe by the end of the year. Our goal our stretch goal was 15K by the end of the year. And you guys with James Webb have absolutely blown us out of the water in surprising us, celebrating 22,200 subscribers right now, and we are so grateful for each and every one of you being here and being part of our community. So we're on that road to 25K, maybe by the end of year one, and we're super excited to have you all along the way, and I thank you for that support. It was a very special Christmas gift and birthday gift from all of you, so I appreciate that. Today's liftoff scheduled for 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 1:10 p.m. UTC, or 5:10 a.m. Pacific Time. So we're glad to have you all here for us in North America bright and early as we count down. On your screen, you're still looking at a live view of the rocket as it is starting to get darker there at the Baikonur Cosmodrome ahead of today's launch. Today's launch is the 12th in the history of the partnership between Roscosmos and OneWeb. This is why it's launch 12. The first launch that occurred back in 2019 was actually basically a demo flight where they put on a few of their satellites, but this is the 11th actual operational mission. Seeing a wide shot of the pad there, those two large support towers fully retracted now, making way for the launch here. Now there are two strong backs. One will retract slightly before, and the other one during the actual launch sequence. Pad's still pretty busy. We should start to see that clear out over the next 15 minutes, as we generally try to see a full pad clear around T-minus 15 to 20 minutes before liftoff. If you're just joining us, just in time for our live coverage for the countdown, 36 OneWeb satellites preparing for liftoff today from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. DJ saying crazy that there's personnel still that close, 30 minutes launch. It is, oh, they're moving the camera. It is quite interesting to see. Definitely very different from what we see here in North America or many other launch sites. Launch sites around the world. We pulled an all-nighter for this one. We're working on some other projects for 2022, and excited to have you all with us for those, and pulled an all-nighter. But we are excited to cover the last orbital launch of 2021. That's not China. I have to make that one. Unfortunately, China doesn't give us live views of their rocket launches all that often, so we don't get to see those. OneWeb will have 648 satellites in their constellation, 600 of them needed to have global coverage, with 48 on-orbit spares in case the satellite were to fail. They have on-orbit replacements. The satellites will be all at a 1,200-kilometer low Earth polar orbit, which is significantly lower than the global internet satellites today. The current internet satellite solutions orbit at over 35,000 kilometers above the Earth, but we do know Starlink is obviously lower than OneWeb in the 500-kilometer range. So they are the second lowest, but they are still quite significantly higher than where Starlink is. OneWeb expects, once they have all 600 satellites on orbit and the 48 spares, to offer download speeds of roughly 50 megabytes a second. So that is what they are targeting. Their constellation will have 18 planes. So that is 18 lines that will encompass the globe, with 36 satellites in each plane. So each of these launches we're seeing is basically launching a plane of satellites. In May of 2022, they did file an application with the FCC to increase their constellation to the size of 48,000 satellites. OneWeb has also announced that the second generation of the OneWeb network will be a global navigation system called the GNSS, similar operation to GPS. So, very interesting to see them go from, we're starting with this small constellation, to bankruptcy, to being bailed out with $1 billion, to now they're going to try to compete directly with SpaceX and launch 48,000. But they don't have a vehicle to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how that will occur. You guys all mentioned coffee, and then I started yawning. Virginia, you need a top cup of coffee. I know I do. I know. Y'all mentioned coffee and got me going there. Can see lots of venting coming off the rocket as it finalizes its fueling in preparation for launch. Virginia, we need a garbage rocket up there to scoop up all the space debris, clean up. Absolutely. It's definitely something we hope to see in the future, is some operations to help clean up our low Earth orbit specifically. There is so much debris up there. A lot of it not from the U.S. There's a little bit, but there are a number of other countries that need to take acquire of their garbage, or that other countries will hopefully be able to clean up with their permission. Bangalore, do the stuff in sight show only active satellites or dead ones? Do the stuff in satellites show only active or dead ones too? That's a good question, Ben. I will be honest, I do not have that answer. Let me see if I can find it. I know there is debris that's in it. So there is debris that is listed. So yes, that should be it, as long as it's been like mentioned that it's debris. Then yes. From what we can tell, like I'll pull it back up here just so you guys can see what I'm seeing here. This is stuff in space, or stuff in dot space. It's a free website you guys can go and check out, and it shows everything that is in orbit of our beautiful little planet here. And you can see there is a lot of junk up there, and you can scroll all the way in and see what is here. But if you hover over it, it'll show you the orbit and the inclination. But let's say we want to look at Cosmos 1408 debris. Shocking to click on this. This is actually from that ASAT test. It'll give you the apogee and the perigee, the altitude, velocity, and then you can actually track it, and you can see the different speeds of the different debris on orbit. So I do believe it does have quite a bit of debris. If we go Starlink, let's see if it lists any as debris on it. Don't see anything currently, but it does list other debris on orbit. So there's lots of things. They do have some groups based on some of the most popular searches, like wanting to look at the GPS or different things like that. But a great little tool there to see what is all around our planet. We've got quite a bit, and you can see obviously other stuff stretches out further and further away. But we've got that one consistent ring right around the middle, and then starting to spread out more and more with the polar orbits. Coming down T-minus 28 minutes, 25 seconds, and counting until liftoff here this morning from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. If you're just tuning in, welcome here to the launch pad. We're answering your guys' live comments and questions as we count down to liftoff. We're also letting you know that any time in the next 27 and a half days, if you want to know where the James Webb Space Telescope is, you can find out over on our YouTube channel. We'll drop the link in the chat. It's also pinned in the description, but we've got that live tracker running, and glad to have you guys tracking along with us the 344 points of failure that all have to go perfectly for James Webb not to fail. Yeah, it's a nice site there. Oh, awesome. You searched for a dead one and it showed up. Perfect. Yeah, I know it shows quite a bit of the debris, so I'm glad it showed a dead one as well. If you are just joining us, though, you can send in questions by just tagging us at the Launchpad. We're also letting you know that our James Webb launch day commemorative shirts with the dates on them are still available over on our Etsy shop. That link's in the chat and in the description. But if you use promo code LaunchDay, you can get 10% off your entire order of everything on our Etsy shop. Just promo code LaunchDay, all one word, all caps, and it's a great way of supporting us and picking up something that celebrates maybe space. We got lots of options counting down towards the orbital flight test as well. I'm glad to have you guys along the way with us, supporting us in that way. Counting down T-minus 26 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. You're looking at a live view of Site 31-6 of the Baikonur Cosmodrome and the fairing of the OneWeb payload today. 36 satellites are stored inside that fairing here today in preparation for launch. DJ, what a mess. There is a lot of garbage up there. That is for sure. There is quite a bit. So it is definitely something that we need to see getting cleaned up here in the future. And there are some teams working on ideas on how to be able to do that. The biggest thing is you can't just go clean up someone else's garbage when it's a different country. You do need their authorization. So working through what that would all look like. Again, we're going to take a very quick commentary break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes or so. We are keeping an eye out for OneWeb and them beginning their live stream, where we'll get an update on the rocket itself. So keep sending in your live comments and questions, and I will be right back. But stay with us right here on the launch pad as we count down to liftoff of OneWeb 12. Stay with us. And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of OneWeb12 launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. We are counting down the last 20 minutes until liftoff. You can see that pad area now clearing and that Soyuz rocket really starting to come alive as we count down these last few minutes. OneWeb and Arianespace should be going live here in the next couple of minutes to give us an update on both the payload, the rocket, and the range, as liftoff is currently scheduled for 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1:10 p.m. UTC, or 5:10 a.m. Pacific Time, and we're glad to have you all here with us. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat. Take us at the launch pad. We'll be answering those through the launch sequence. Adam, why can't any of them do like 1 p.m. my time? Yeah, especially some of these ones where they're not like the space station. I wonder what the launch is. Mind you, it's a good launch time for them in Kazakhstan. So I think they're probably looking at that more so than for us on the other side of the world. But glad to have that here. You are looking at a live view of the fairing of the Soyuz 2.1B, which is stationed on the launch site 31/6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. And they're rotating through their camera feeds here, so we should see a wide shot of that rocket as well. At ignition, just a reminder, one thing that is normal to see is that ignition and kind of Soyuz warming up before it actually jumps off of the pad. That is part of the launch sequence. But if it's your first time watching, something to keep in mind. T-minus 18 minutes and counting. On board today's rockets, there are 36 OneWeb satellites getting ready for liftoff here today, bringing the total number of satellites on orbit to 394, or over 60% of the OneWeb satellite constellation, providing internet communications similar to Starlink. That is part of their mission. They targeted launching in the north and the south first, and then are working their way to the equator, where Starlink worked covering more of the United States first, and then expanding out from there. It's very interesting to see just how late OneWeb and Arianespace are going live. We have had Roscosmos live for a while, but they have not done a ton of live commentary related to the actual launch today, other than this live view here. T-minus 17 minutes and counting. Mars is the same pad they send the Soyuz and Progress to the space station. It is one of them, yes. Yeah, so we have seen a number of launches from this pad up to the International Space Station. 31/6, very busy launch site at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Absolutely. Great question there. Yes, Kazakhstan. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week. James Webb was pretty special, and then our Track Santa as well. And if you guys haven't been online, first, a late Merry Christmas if you were celebrating, for my family and our entire TLP crew. We want to thank you guys for that really special gift of blowing out of the water our goals for the end of the year, and setting new stretch goals to, even for this last week. So we count down to the end of 2021. In early 2022, in the first couple weeks, we hope you'll join us as we look back at 2021 and just where the channel started and where what we've done in this first year, and how we've grown, and that we've only done that thanks to your guys' support. And we're super excited for what's coming this year. 24/7 cameras at launch sites around the world, and much more. Does look like they are getting ready to begin the live stream here for OneWeb. Here we go. Here's the history of the launches. So these are those first missions that we saw as they launched and have been building their constellation in orbit. You can see each of the logos they did as well, and just how frequent they have been. Today, the 11th operational mission, but the 12th mission in all of its history, though. They do have 3 spaceports that they can launch from, and I assume they'll show those. Yep, there we go. Kourou, French Guiana, so that's where we watched James Webb launch from, a different launch complex there. Arianespace is able to launch Soyuz. They have the Baikonur Cosmodrome, where we're launching from this morning. And then they also have the Vostochny launch site in Russia. We've seen them launch all 3 of those launch complexes. Thanks, Real YouTube. Happy belated Boxing Day as well. Thank you so much. Satellite internet, do they have the same limitations? Satellite TV lost a signal with heavy clouds. Yes, anything with satellites has that risk of a heavy cloud blocking out the service. So that is something to see. We're going to listen in here for an update on the rocket.
Launch show here from the Science Museum in London. It's been quite the year in OneWeb's mission, an impressive 8 launches in 2021, and the momentum is really building. There are now 358 OneWeb satellites up in low Earth orbit. The end target is a constellation of 648 satellites to provide high-speed internet from space right across the globe. So OneWeb are now more than halfway there. And everything is on track to complete the full launch program by this time next year. And agreements are being signed now that will bring high-speed internet to places where that previously seemed unimaginable, transforming businesses and rural communities. If you've been following OneWeb's progress, you'll appreciate how their team is pushing the boundaries of technology, and you have a sense of why their mission is so important: to remove the barriers to connectivity across the globe and to deliver connectivity that drives positive change. Let's start with a quick recap of this impressive past year for OneWeb.
And because we don't know if that's copyrighted music or not, we're going to mute it, but we're going to keep it on your screen. If you're just joining us, you're here just in time. We're counting down T-minus 13 minutes and counting until liftoff. You can see a live view on the right side of your screen there of the launch site 31/6 of the Baikonur Cosmodrome as we count down towards liftoff here today, carrying 36 more satellites up into orbit. If you guys have questions, you can continue to send those in the chat. We'll be answering those live as we progress towards the launch here. And we will, of course, patch in the live audio as we go for the actual launch attempt in just a few minutes. Ben, looks like there might be a 4th spaceport near India with IS. Absolutely. There's lots of new spaceports coming online all over the world, which is really, really great to see as they are becoming more and more options in preparation to expand out not only in low Earth orbit and medium Earth orbit, but back to the moon and then on to Mars. T-minus 12 minutes and counting there. 11 minutes 45 seconds. Take a wide shot of the launch complex here, so you can see the pad does look fully clear to me. It looks like the last people have left, and they are ready for liftoff here this morning.
Flight up into low Earth orbit is anything but easy. Each launch requires meticulous preparation and expertise. And today, just as in every one of the previous 11 launches, OneWeb is achieving its launch goals thanks to the support and expertise of Arianespace. Their team provides the Soyuz rocket that carries the OneWeb satellites into space. And wherever in the world the rocket launches from, Arianespace monitor every second of operations from their HQ in France. Let's hear now from Arianespace CEO Stefan Israel for his update on the latest step in the OneWeb mission.
Good afternoon, everyone. We meet again for our launch just in between Christmas and the New Year's evening, a special time of the year for a very special flight. In fact, our launch ST-37 is going to be the 15th and the last of 2021. Today's mission will place 36 more OneWeb satellites into orbit. Our flight will last 3 hours and 45 minutes and include 9 consecutive separations, delivering our passengers at an altitude of 450 kilometers. Afterwards, the satellite will raise themselves to their operational orbit at a more than 1,000 kilometers from Earth. With this 8th OneWeb launch of 2021, Arianespace will officially deploy more than 60% of the constellation with 394 satellites already orbited. Flight ST-37 also stands out thanks to its configuration. For the first time, we will not launch 34 but 36 satellites from the Baikonur Cosmodrome thanks to the optimization of our passengers' masses and the completion of a new flight program specifically developed for this mission. Once again, our team demonstrated its dedication towards our client ambition to bring connectivity to every place where fiber cannot reach and thereby bridge the digital divide. This moment is a fruit of many months of teamwork all around the globe. To make all of this possible, our Arianespace and StarSem staff have been working hand in hand with OneWeb and OneWeb satellite experts. We also collaborated with Soyuz authorities and manufacturers, our Russian friends from Roscosmos, RKC Progress, NPO Lavochkin, and Senki, to be able to operate this launch today. A real show of team spirit that sure matches this holiday season.
One of the core principles of OneWeb is putting people and customers first. And in the past year, the OneWeb team has grown to over 400 people worldwide. So who better to hear from for this special launch show looking back at the year than some of that all-star team?
My name is Lilo Gemelli. I am the launch campaign manager for OneWeb here in Kazakhstan, and I follow all the activity of the launch campaign.
My name is Roland Coelho. I'm a launch campaign manager number 2, supporting Lilo for this launch campaign.
I'm Kyle Appel. I'm the lead electrical technician here, and I'm just basically making sure the satellites are happy before they take off and go into space.
Yeah, we're just excited, for hopefully another successful launch to close out this year. We know it's been an amazing year for OneWeb and all of its partners. So definitely looking, to cap this off with another successful launch.
I'm glad to be part of a team where we're bringing worldwide internet. I grew up in a small rural town, and I know a lot of my parents and a lot of my friends. We don't have really good internet access. I'm just happy to be here, even over Christmas, to try to bring that to them.
Kazakhstan is a desert environment, so there's not so much water, but we have snow. We had snow, I think, 1 week ago, but now it's white somewhere, so it's desert, so not so much.
Also, too, there's wild camels and wild horses roaming around, so we get to see them on the drive, back and forth every day to the launch base.
I have to say, our life outside the hotel, it's not very, we don't interface so much with the city, because when we arrive at the hotel late in the afternoon, it's already dark, it's too cold, but I'm
going to interrupt this because I don't know how it's maybe mission critical or not, but if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad, our live launch coverage of OneWeb12. We are counting down T-minus 6 minutes until liftoff. We are keeping an eye both on Roscosmos and OneWeb as they count down towards the launch here today of 36 OneWeb satellites on board today's Soyuz 2.1B. You're looking at a current live shot of the 4 boosters attached to the Soyuz that will separate and create that Crowell cross. Always say that one wrong. During its flight. But we are counting down the last little bit here. So take a moment, hit that like button. 400 people watching. Let's see if we can get to that 200 like mark. And consider sharing the broadcast. We are just minutes away from liftoff of what will most likely be the last orbital launch flight of a operational mission of 2021. No others are on the docket. There's one other test flight and then a couple China launches, but this is going to be one of the last really public orbital launch flights of 2021.
Advance. The OneWeb satellites all have to be carefully arranged in the dispenser, located in the upper part of the Soyuz ST-37 launch vehicle. Then 3 days before the launch, the assembled Soyuz, which is consisting of the upper stage and the 3-stage rocket blocks, is transferred to the launch pad. It's transported horizontally and then it's raised up into its vertical takeoff position when it reaches that launch pad. It is a beautiful thing to behold. Let's take a look.
And we'll keep this on the view here as we are counting down the last few minutes until liftoff. We should be at T-minus 4 minutes and counting. It was great, Virginia. It was really nice, intimate, just with grandparents, mom, and my uncle. But it was really great, and it was great spending it with a lot of you as we were live with Track Santa and, of course, the historic launch of James Webb. Yeah, I haven't either, Mars. It's a little rough. I would take the normal Arianespace launch coverage over a OneWeb, to be honest. But hey, it's not their main priority. But you're seeing just what went into preparing the 36 satellites and putting them on board the Soyuz 2.1B rocket before it got rolled out to the pad here. We're going to go back full screen as we are counting down the last couple minutes until liftoff here of today's flight. We are now T-minus 4 minutes and counting until liftoff here. So take a moment, hit that like button. Really does help us out. And we're going to turn up the Roscosmos feed. Now, I know it's going to be in Russian, but that is going to give us the best possible updates on the rocket as we count down towards this launch here in just a couple minutes from now. Be able to hear some live sounds from the pad as well. T-minus 3 minutes. Two minutes, 30 seconds. Jonathan, the best way to wake up? Well, I'm glad you're here with us. Good morning. They are, Carl. They absolutely are. But NASA will pick it up. As always, here on the launch pad, when we get down to that T-minus 2 minute mark, we want to see in the chat a go, no go from you guys for launch. As we are at T-minus 2 minutes and counting. You're watching those two support stacks as they'll get ready to retract here momentarily. T-minus 90 seconds. Take a moment, smash that like button. Really does help us out. We're down to T-minus 60 seconds and counting. Soyuz is go for launch. T-minus 40 seconds. retracting of that arm. We are T minus 30. We are minus 20. Should be about T minus 10. We have ignition. It sits. Liftoff. OneWeb12 clears the path. The last orbital commercial flight of 2021. Incredible close-up shot of those engines. First major thing is first stage separation at 117 seconds into flight. Already traveling 1,000 kilometers an hour, 10 kilometers in altitude. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kevin. Pretty good way to ring in a birthday. The last launch of the year. Soyuz they're really a beautiful launch. They have some great camera angles. Passing 1 minute into flight, currently traveling 2,200 kilometers an hour, already 25 kilometers into altitude. Next up is first stage separation, coming up in about 30 seconds from now. 90 seconds into flight. 3,500 kilometers an hour, 35 kilometers in altitude. It is, Fizz. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Coming up 10 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First stage separation. See if we can see those boosters slowly flipping away. It's probably too dark to see it now. 2 minutes, 10 seconds into flight, traveling 5,500 kilometers an hour, already passing 60 kilometers in altitude. Yeah, always the Roscosmos feet. They're always better. Thank you. I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah, what a birthday. Celebrating milestones we never thought we'd have. We got a launch to start. It's pretty great. Next milestone coming up here is second stage separation. 287 seconds into flight, or about 100 seconds from now. Coming up 3 minutes since liftoff, traveling 8,000 kilometers an hour, already at 90 kilometers in altitude. 36 OneWeb satellites on their way to their orbit. Just about a minute away from that second stage separation, which is when we'll see that main core stage separate from the bottom half, and we'll see that third stage ignition. Now keep in mind, deployment is going to take about 3.5 hours today, so we won't see full payload deployment on this stream, but we will see them get into a confirmed orbit and go from there. Coming up to 4 minutes since we've had liftoff here of the Soyuz 2.1B from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, passing through 11,500 kilometers an hour at 130 kilometers in altitude. We are about 25 seconds away from that second stage separation. Have that here in about 15 seconds from now. They do have a website. Just Google OneWeb. They do have a website. Thanks, Howard. Appreciate it. Thank you, Real YouTube. Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Decathlon. Thank you, Fairground. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition of the third stage and second stage separation. Fairing separation jettison confirmed as well. And they are on their way. 5 minutes into flight, traveling at 14,000 kilometers an hour, 152 kilometers in altitude. Next major event is that third stage separation, about 3 minutes or so from now. They do the fairing separation just a little bit later. They don't do it until after that first stage has burned off. And I believe it's just because of the thrust that they have. Makes it a little bit smoother there. That's awesome, Fizz. If you guys have questions, you can keep sending those in the chat. We'll work on answering those as we wait the confirmation of a good orbit here this morning. If it's your first time here, take a moment, hit that like, subscribe button. It really does help us out. Let's see, can we get to 300 likes before we see that separation? I think we can do it. Hit that like button, really does help us out. I know it's annoying hearing it, but it does help the channel, and it is free to do. You can see the animation of the 36 satellites. Now, I am going to patch us over to a live view from OneWeb as well, just so you know. No, I'm not, because they've already taken their feed down. And have their guy talking again. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep a live view of the Roscosmos feed as we await that third stage separation, because they're focusing on the launch, not selling their product, which is probably important. Disappointed not having camera atop the satellite birthday. Yeah, it would be really great to see. Absolutely. Have some cameras on board. About 2 minutes away from that third stage separation. Seven minutes into flight, traveling just under 20,000 kilometers an hour, 184 kilometers in altitude. Thank you so much, Fairground. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know I've seen you around, so thank you so much for the support there. Just to give you an idea of what OneWeb is showing, this is what's on their screen right now. They're launching 36 satellites, and I'm all for a little promotion, but can we still see the animation? We'll come back to Roscosmos here. Coming up on just about a minute away from third stage main engine cutoff. 8 minutes into flight, traveling 22,500 kilometers an hour at 190 kilometers in altitude. Coming up here, about 30 seconds away from that third stage cutoff. Thanks so much, Mr. Kilroy. I appreciate it. And there's that cutoff and separation. 27,000 kilometers an hour, 200 kilometers in altitude, 9.5 minutes into flight. They have had the orbital block separation. Liberty Dude, thank you so much for that super chat. For a birthday candle and a Ooga Booga Wee Day. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Because it made it a special beginning to a birthday, so I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. But just like that, 10 minutes into flight, and we have had launch and a good orbit of OneWeb's 36 satellites. Now it is on to the deployment over the next 3.5 hours. We will start to see that deployment occur. And I'm not sure if Roscosmos is fully going to cover that or if OneWeb is. So we're waiting to have confirmation on that. We'll transition over to seeing what OneWeb's working on. They're having a pre-recorded interview, it looks like, for today. Let's take a listen into what OneWeb's talking about here.
From the top of a mountain to the middle of the ocean. And that provides a crucial benefit to something we all rely on but rarely see: shipping and offshore operations. Real-time, reliable access to data isn't just about streaming your favorite movie on a cruise ship. For maritime businesses, access to that data helps in myriad ways, from improving the timeliness of tracking and cruise scheduling to vital environmental impact monitoring. Technologies to boost cleaner shipping are ready and viable today. The pressure to adopt them is growing, but the lack of mid-ocean connectivity capable of delivering them is stopping many operators from making use of new tech. This is where OneWeb is part of the discussion and the solution, developing high-speed, low-latency communications and data transfer services that will have a powerful role in decarbonising shipping. Let's continue our look back on OneWeb's 2021 journey, this time with a maritime focus.
So they're showing another animation of what they're trying to work on, but we'll see what's happening. Carl, I launch some pretty serious rockets every month. I want the launch pad to call it honest. Hey, Carl, we're always open to partnerships. If you can get in touch on Discord or Twitter, TLPN_official, we can connect and see what we can happen. Deathalon, off to work. Have a great birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you guys are going to head out, we're probably going to wrap it up here actually pretty quickly as the launch has occurred, and it's now 3.5 hours until the deployment has fully occurred. So we're going to take some last questions. You can send those in the chat. OneWeb's just doing more promotion to buy their service. So we're going to focus on that. But Gary, thank you so much for that super chat. Thanks for the coverage and a happy birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, if you guys have any last questions, send those in the chat. We'll answer those. If you are heading out, don't forget you can live track James Webb Space Telescope over the next 27.5 days right here on the launch pad with our live tracker. We'll drop the link in the chat for you. And also don't forget that our limited edition James Webb commemorative launch day t-shirts, mugs, and bottles are available on our shop, and it's a great day to pick one up because it's launch day, which means you can use promo code LAUNCHDAY, all one word in caps, and get 10% off of everything on the Launchpad shop, and pick up yourselves maybe one of our lunar sample return bottles. You can pick up one of our mugs, one of our shirts like the James Webb ones, or something that's more Starship, or even pick up some of our holiday collection before they disappear as well. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for being here today, kicking off my birthday with a launch here this morning. It was great to have you all here. And that is it. The last orbital commercial, really operational flight launch of 2021 is in the books. 36 satellites on their way to their destination. Of course, deployment will occur over the next 3.5 hours. Now, keep in mind there are 2 more Chinese launches. Unfortunately, we don't have live views of those. And Roscosmos is testing their Angara 5 rocket, but they have not made any mention of live streaming that. So that is going to most likely do it for us for 2021. We're going to be keeping a close eye on Starbase to see any testing that occurs this week down there, and if we see anything, we will of course bring that to you as well. We're super excited 2022 to be launching our own Starbase cams, and we can only do that thanks to your guys' support. But lots of new things coming in the new year. Our brand new show, The Launch Pod, taking place every week with myself and my new co-host Ian. I'm super excited to introduce you to. We will be breaking down all the space news of the week, and then of course taking all of your guys' live comments, questions, topics, theories, and opinions live, same time every week. So we hope you'll join us for that. We've got a ton more interviews we're hoping to have in 2022, working on lining those up already. Of course, live launch coverage of the Artemis 1 and its first flight of SLS. We're going to have this orbital launch test of Starship. We're going to have so many things happening in 2022 that we're excited to take you guys along the way with us. But that is going to do it for now. Liberty Dude, I would love to watch a live stream of hobbies launch some serious rockets of their local park. That'd be cool. Absolutely, that'd be cool. Thanks, Virginia. We'll see you later. Enjoy doing your online grocery shopping. We'll see you later. OneWeb is the only good decision made by British government in 20 years. It was a big investment by them, absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it there. Dave, do you have any interviews scheduled for the new year? We're working on a bunch. We've got a few people that can't schedule anything until certain things occur with other things, and we're going to leave it that vague for now. But we do have some people we're working on interviews and stuff from there. One thing we are excited to be launching is a new interview series called Behind the Console. So if you work in the space agency for any of the major space companies or companies that are manufacturing for these companies and are interested in doing an interview, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you and maybe get to share a little bit of your story. We having some lag issues? Don't think so. Looks pretty steady. Maybe my camera is. The camera sometimes lags out, but that's okay. But that's going to do it for us here. 2021, 140 orbital launches. Almost every single one of them covered here on the launch pad. Of course, lots of Starbase testing and more, and we appreciate that. If it was your first time here, my name's Zach. I'm the host here at the launch pad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, and we believe space is better together. And that is going to do it for our live launch coverages for 2021. Thanks for watching. We will see you in 2022 with more live launches, space news, updates, interviews, and so much more. But for now, this is Zach from the Launchpad signing off. We'll see you next time.